Okay, just joking here, folks. Let me move on quickly to Jimmy Butler, Pat Riley, and the Miami Heat. Now, if you follow the NBA like I do, clearly you know that things are pretty bad between Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. And at this point, I don't think they're going to be able to salvage anything. That's what I think, at least. Maybe somehow they will be able to if they don't get to move him and they want him to play. I don't really know. I don't really know. But for those who may not have been following this as closely as I have, I'm going to send you through a little timeline of what has happened between the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler. So, for a lot of the information, not for a lot of it, for pretty much all the information I have, I'm at a website, allyoucanheat.com. And there was an article here that came out a few days ago by Joshua Gitman, and it was really good with a timeline of what has been going on between the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler. And I want to bring it back just a little bit, okay, to 2024, May 6th. The Boston Celtics just ended up just ended up destroying the Miami Heat. I believe it was a 4-0 sweep. And Jimmy Butler made some comments saying that the Heat would have beaten the Boston Celtics if he were healthy. And Pat Riley heard what he said, and I guess he was in a press conference, and he ended up giving his opinion on what Jimmy Butler had to say, and I'm going to play that for you and just go down the list after that, okay? So let's get into this here. Here we go.
For him to say that, I thought, is that Jimmy trolling or is that Jimmy serious? If you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut in your criticism of those teams.
Now, apparently, this is where they're saying this beef started. This is where they're saying the beef started. I'm not 100% sure that's what started. I think there was things going on behind the scenes as well. I do remember one time Jimmy Butler, it was either a year or two ago, did step up to Eric Spoelstra in a very disrespectful way. Eric Spoelstra is the head coach of the Miami Heat, and Udonis Haslam, who was pretty much, the guy who was the veteran who keeps everybody in check, did step up to Jimmy Butler and, kind of handle that situation in-house. But I believe there has been things that have been going on behind the scenes, and things are just starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So apparently this was an issue for Jimmy Butler. Pat Riley telling him to keep his mouth shut. And this is the NBA. People make a lot of money. People have big egos, and they don't just let things slide like that. So I told you that was May 6th. Let's fast forward a month here, a month and a half, June 26, 2024, when Jimmy Butler is trying to get an extension from the Miami Heat. Let me play this for you.
There he is, the NBA insider, Shams Charania. Sham, let's go back to something that's very important, especially when it comes to news, which is presented by AT&T 5G, fast, reliable, and secure. Let's focus on the Miami Heat, who are slated to pick 15th in this first round. What else is happening down in the 305 with this Heat organization?
So Bam Adebayo, the cornerstone center, he is expected to sign a 3-year, $166 million maximum contract with the Heat in free agency. Once teams are able to agree to extensions and sign extensions after the league moratorium. But Jimmy Butler, he's going to play out next season under his current contract with the Heat. I'm told he will not be signing an extension with the Heat or any other team ahead of his opt-out in 2025 free agency. And this clears up any notion of a trade demand out of Jimmy Butler. He intends to play out next season. He has an affinity for Miami, wants to be with the Heat next season. So he has 2 years remaining on his deal, $49 million this upcoming year. Then that player option in 2025 for $52 million. And I'm told Jimmy Butler is absolutely determined to have a big season next year and set himself up for a major payday in 2025 free agency when he can sign a deal 4 years up to $240 million.
All right. So Jimmy Butler did not get the extension that he wanted with the Miami Heat. That also, to me, ramps everything up because he did not get his money the way he sees it. September 30th, 2024, Media Day, Butler said he just wants to focus on the season ahead. Skip forward to December 10th. The Heat are open to listening to offers for Jimmy Butler. So this is making me start to think that things are happening in the background in regards to Jimmy Butler starting to tune this team out and him just starting to do his own thing because he wants to force himself the hell out of town. Okay. According to Shams Charania, the Heat are open to listening to offers for Jimmy Butler, league sources told ESPN. And the 6-time All-Star is believed to prefer a win-now contender in any trade. December 26th, Pat Riley issues a statement saying they are not trading Jimmy Butler. So, from a guy who's worked in media for a decade now, not really media, I've worked in broadcasting behind the scenes for the Raptors, but I talk to a lot of people, whether it be I've talked to scouts, I've talked to coaches, I've talked to GMs before from different teams. I've talked to owners before. A lot of the time when you hear a GM say something, just believe the opposite. Just believe the opposite. And I'll leave it at that. December 31st, Butler says he's uncertain if he wants to remain in Miami anymore. This is when it starts to become really problematic. January 1st, this is where it really starts to get bad. The Miami Heat accused Jimmy Butler of not playing his hardest in return against the Pelicans. In his first game back, after 5-game absence, Jimmy Butler, a day after saying he was uncertain he wanted to remain in Miami, had his most unusual performance of the season against the Pelicans, playing 25 minutes, only taking 5 shots, finishing with 9 points. For most of the game, Butler was standing in a corner. They're pretty much saying he didn't do anything on purpose. January 2nd, Jimmy Butler requests a trade. January 3rd, the Miami Heat give him a 7-game suspension. Excuse me. Which tallies approximately $3 million. And when you do that, that is a problem because we don't really know what the suspension was for. You can't get suspended for just going on a microphone saying, I don't want to play here anymore. That would make sense. So there has to be other things going on in the background that we don't know about. Right? So, and then on top of that, the Players Association says that they're filing a grievance against the Miami Heat. So they're going to be fighting to get that money back for Jimmy Butler. This is a whole mess now at this point. This is a whole mess. And today is January 7th. It just came out that Jimmy Butler does not, I repeat, does not want to go in a trade to the Memphis Grizzlies. So you can rule that out. This is a disaster. An absolute disaster. And I don't think they're going to be able to come back from this. And I'm not 100% sure they're going to be able to trade Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has a player option after this year. And it's about $53 million for next season. That's a lot of dough. That's a lot of dough. So a team can trade for Jimmy Butler and then he can be out of there. So it's a very, very tricky situation if you're the Miami Heat. Brian Windhorst did report to ESPN today that the offers coming in to the Miami Heat are absolutely terrible. And at this point, of course, it's going to be terrible. The Miami Heat have absolutely no leverage. And every offer that comes their way is going to be a lowball. That's why we're hearing reports that if a deal does not get done, the Miami Heat are expecting Jimmy Butler to show up after his suspension and play. Period. And so I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know how this thing is going to end, but I have a feeling that time is going to go by and Jimmy Butler is still going to be in a Miami uniform. Unless they can find a way to make the deal work with the Phoenix Suns, because that's really where he wants to go. He wants to be in Phoenix, and they're going to have to get rid of Bradley Beal if they want to make that deal happen. Bradley Beal is one of two players aside from LeBron James that has a no trade clause. The Miami Heat, according to reports, do not want Bradley Beal. So if this is going to work between Bradley Beal and the Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat, there will have to be a third team to facilitate Bradley Beal's contract to. He's going to have to go somewhere else, but it ain't going to be the Miami Heat. So this is interesting. Keep your eye on this. Keep your eye on this, folks, because, I mean, seriously, I just don't know how this is going to go. But let me tell you something right now, man. You put Pat Riley and Jimmy Butler in a room together right now at this point. You want me to tell you what it's going to sound like? You want to hear? That's what it'll sound like. And I'm not sure Pat Riley would be the one getting beat up, because I'm still convinced he's in the mafia. And he most likely has 3 different pairs of brass knuckles. Okay? So I don't know what the hell is going to be going on with the Miami Heat, but it's getting messy over there.